Hi everyone, hello. Thank you guys so much for showing up to our study away session, whether you're interested in study away or it's just really hot outside and you didn't want to get up. Either way, thank you so much for sitting and listening to us talk for a little bit. I'm gonna kind of go through and introduce the people that are behind me as well as myself so you know who's talking to you. My name is Caitlin Leitman and I studied abroad in Cape Town, South Africa.
Hi, my name is Sean Throckmorton, and I studied abroad in South Africa, Peter Maritzburg semester.
Hello, my name is Jonathan Wee, and I studied in South Africa, Pietermaritzburg, and Costa Rica.
Hello, I'm Erin Liu, and I also studied in South Africa, Pietermaritzburg, and then a short-term trip in India.
I'm Shannon Seal, and I studied abroad in Ecuador.
Sweet. Okay, so basically, each person's going to go through and kind of give you a very, very brief description on what the study abroad programs look like, what that looks like financially, and all that fun stuff. So we're going to dive in a little bit. Is it in? Okay. So there's two different kind of programs that we have available in the study abroad office. We have our Group 1 and our Group 2 programs. Group 1, financially, the difference is that those are APU led programs that we started, and they're personally done by APU. So financially, what that looks like is if you have a financial package that's coming from APU, so if that's a scholarship, anything that APU personally gave you to come on campus and be with us, you can apply that to studying abroad. So basically, as a freshman, what you're paying to come on campus is essentially what you could pay to study abroad. And that includes travel, that includes housing, that includes food. We really just make it as inclusive and easy as possible so that we can send as many people abroad as possible. So those are our Group 1s, which we'll kind of break down and show you which ones it is in a little bit, but that's like our South Africa campuses, our Ecuador campuses, and much more. And our Group 2 ones are our partner programs. So those are programs that we partner with that aren't essentially led by APU, but we do partner with them. And we'll go a little bit more into detail on those in a couple more slides. But Group 2 financially is any of your federal aid and your state aid that you are using to come to campus, you can apply towards there. So not necessarily your APU scholarships, but your FAFSA and things like that can apply towards your Group 2 programs. And you'll see a little bit more about which ones those look like in a little bit. And if neither one of those are possible, so those Group 1 and Group 2s are semester-long programs, but our short-term programs are the ones that are in our winter break and our summer breaks. And those are faculty-led programs, which we'll kind of get a little bit more detail in a little bit later. And those are good for majors that don't necessarily have the time to study abroad in a full semester-long program. So these are the Group 1 programs. I'm not going to go into too much detail, so I want to take the light off of these wonderful people that are going to explain to you more detail of what they look like, but those, in a nutshell, are what they are, and we'll go into detail in just a couple more slides. And then, just if you're a visual person like me, this is where our programs look like in the whole world map. So you can see we really go everywhere. We love sending our students to different places and really representing APU all over the world. So I'm going to bring up Jonathan so he can talk to you about South Africa a little bit more. Jonathan?
Thank you, Caitlin. All right, so the first Group 1 program that we're going to be talking about is South Africa, which there are two different campuses. So fall and spring, there are two different groups that go to two different places. So the first place is called Pietermaritzburg, or as we like to call it, PMV, because it's very long. And this is run by our program director, Reg Codrington, who has lived in South Africa, born and raised his whole life, and he's also the director of both campuses. And in South Africa, so pretty much for the financial side, again, it is a Group 1 program, which means that all the financial aid, financial aid from state, federal, institutional, all count as if you're going to APU here in the States. And classes-wise, South Africa is great for, PMV campus is great for, we cover a lot of general education requirements, such as biology. There's a new writing class that we're adding spring 2018, woo! And along with some online classes, Bible classes, psychology classes. And in this campus and in the other campus, which I'll be talking about in a second, there are two classes that are required for every student that go. And that is a history class and a global community engagement class. And also for Peter Maritzburg, there's an option to take a Zulu language class, which is a full 8 units, so it's kind of like 2 classes, and that will cover the language requirement, which is 2 semesters of a language. How do I work this? There we go. All right. So in Cape Town, for those of you guys too, Peter Maritzburg, if you look at South Africa, is on the, this is really hard to try to explain. Peter Maritzburg is more east, and Cape Town, if you guys don't know it, is more towards the bottom, more west of South Africa. It is about, like an 8-7 hour drive between each campus. But for Cape Town, there's also general eds that students can take, including those online Bible classes, theology classes, psychology classes, as well as a, I'm forgetting it. Math, statistics, there we go. A statistics class that students can take online as well. And the great thing about Cape Town is there also is a psychology major route where psychology majors can go, and they're required to take these 3 upper division classes, as well as some other online classes. Also, as well as a pre and post re-entry class before and after they go to South Africa. So this is a great program for psychology majors if they're interested, and it works with their upper division courses. And also with both campuses, students will be there for about 3 months, and they will spend 2 months in their respective campuses, Peter Maritzburg or Cape Town, and then after about 2 months, they'll actually have a switch. We'll have a travel week, and the campuses will get to switch. So pretty much students get to spend time in both Peter Maritzburg and Cape Town. And that's also because it's tied within our history class that goes throughout the entire 3 months, whereas most of the other classes go for just the 2 months that they're in their original campuses. Also, with both of these classes, students are able to get 30 hours of service credit learning while they're there through their community engagement class that we're partnered with, as well as through internships with organizations and just other groups and hospitals if you're a nursing major, which we'll talk about in a little bit there. So South Africa is a great experience. There's a lot of culture in there through their history class that are taught by all South Africans. So it's just a great way to really get engaged and engulfed into that culture. So next we have Ecuador with Shannon.
Hi guys, like he said, my name's Shannon. I studied abroad in Ecuador for my semester. I'm just going to talk a little bit about it. It's a Group 1 program, so just like South Africa, all your financial aid transfers over. It applies to that. It's a great program. It also has gen eds that we can kind of get going during that semester, so you can take 8 units of Spanish there. And I went in, didn't know really any Spanish, went in, took that 8 units, which is basically a year long of Spanish in 1 semester. And I really learned best that way because the Spanish that you're learning is the Spanish that you're using out in the streets of Ecuador to order lunch or to talk with people on the streets. So it's a great way if you struggle with Spanish learning it. It's a great way to learn it right there in the culture. Another aspect is students are required to have an internship. In some majors, some departments, you're required to have an internship at some point during your college career. So this is a great opportunity to go to Ecuador. You get to have your internship in a different country while you're learning the language. It's a really cool opportunity. My internship was one of my favorite moments there. Also, I just want to highlight that while you're there, there's a homestay experience. So for around 2.5 months, you're living with the other students in Ecuador. But after that, you have a month-long homestay with an Ecuadorian family. These families have gone through an interview process. They've gone through a long process of trying so that they can have students come and stay with them. And I still talk with my homestay parents, Sandri and Paul. We talk all the time on Facebook or FaceTiming. It was really cool to come into that home, and they had no reason to treat me so well or treat me like one of their own, but that's what they did. And they loved on me so well and showed me what it's like to live in a different culture and what it's like to learn about a different culture and fully accept it. So that is just one of the best parts of this program that we have there. While you're out there, there's lots of other things. You can come talk to us afterwards, but you go to the Galapagos for a trip. You have a few service trips to the jungle, the Amazon jungle, which are really fun. You partner with a school down there in Misawaji, Ecuador, and you help them build, you help teach a vacation Bible school. It's a really fun program. I would say the biggest thing is it's culturally immersive. So you are living in the city, you're living with the people, and you get to live with the homestay family. I'm going to pass it on to Sean now. He's going to talk about LA term.
Hi, just to reiterate, I'm Sean. You probably forgot. It's okay. I'll be talking about Los Angeles term, so right in our backyard, literally 30 minutes away, or an hour, you know. So basically, if you don't want to send your student super far away, you don't want to leave them to go to another country. My mom was very resistant, but I went anyway. Some people aren't as down for that. Some people won't rebel like that. But Los Angeles term is a great option. So Los Angeles term is a completely immersive experience into Los Angeles, one of the most diverse cities in the world. Some people would argue it is the most diverse city in the world. This is an extremely cross-cultural experience. Students will be in homestays the entire time, working with families that we've paired with for years and years. They've been loved on very well. They grow so close to those families, they become basically a member of it. It's geared towards global students, so students in the global studies major are required to go to this as well as a global learning term. But it's not limited to the global studies major. So any student who is social work, sociology, international business, international relations, this would be a great program for them to get some global courses done, as well as social work courses. This is the completely immersive experience again. Students are there, they're required to take public transit, so utilizing the metro, buses, walking, just really getting the LA experience, as well as working with internships, working with the community, engaging with members, locals of Los Angeles. Very hands-on, working to further their major and get that educational vocational training. So obviously Los Angeles has a lot to do. They could go to Grand Central Market, the Arts District, sorry, I don't know about that. There's so much to do in that time. Students are constantly engaging, having these great experiences, and everyone who goes to this program says that they see Los Angeles in a completely different light. Also, we encourage students to go because while we live in the Los Angeles area, many times we don't get to experience the true Los Angeles. So this is the perfect program for that. I'm going to pass it on to Aaron, I think, who will talk about, what? Oh, I'll press the slide. It's the Global Learning term. Just kidding. It's Caitlin again.
Hi, it's me again. So I'm going to be talking about the Global Learning term, which is a stepping stone from LA. So as Sean was mentioning, the Los Angeles term is open to any major to go and experience and is highly recommended for any major to go experience. But with the Global Learning term, for any parents I have out there whose kids are going to be global studies majors, it is a requirement for them to go on their Global Learning term. And it is a requirement, but it doesn't feel like a requirement because it's one of the greatest experiences that they can possibly have while on campus. So the Global Learning term is an opportunity where they go alone on an experience to either Uganda, the Philippines, Cambodia, and various other places. And they go and experience this country for themselves. They have a homestay like the other ones, are pre-screened, pre-interviewed families that are so excited to love on our students and really get them immersed in the culture that they have. So they have a homestay experience. They also have an internship that we personally link them up with that works with them on their future career plans and really sets them forth once they graduate and gives them really great experience for their resume. So they go out and experience these internships that we've designed for them. They go out and experience the culture of the family that they're with, and then they come back and write about their research and write about what they experienced. And so it's a full educational experience for them, and they have this program for about a semester long. And like I said, it is a requirement for global studies majors, just like the LA term is. Yeah, so moving on, now we have our nursing programs. We have 3 of those, and Erin is going to talk to you about all 3.
So I'm Erin. I'm a nursing student, and something that's really unique about APU is they actually plug in a study abroad trip for us in one of our semesters. It's usually about our junior year. And that's really awesome that we get that opportunity. It's a great way to expand our knowledge and nursing skills in another culture, another country, to bring it back to the States. And so before I jump into China and then Norway, Jonathan talked a little bit about South Africa. Nursing's offered at both campuses. I was at Peter Maritzburg, and our schedules are a little bit different from the other GE students. We'll usually have clinicals Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. In Peter Maritzburg, we specifically go to different clinics around the area in different townships. And then we also worked with an organization called Live Village and worked at their clinic that they have there. And it's just a great opportunity to go do a lot of house visits and really just jump into the culture and experience nursing skills. I mean, I was able to stitch up a guy's stab wound. Sorry if that scares you parents, but it was really, really cool. And you're completely safe, I promise. But I mean, I wouldn't even be able to experience that here in the States. And so they really just push you in. The doctors just said, like, hey, Aaron, like, welcome to the room. And then they just pushed me into doing stitches on this guy. And so really cool opportunities. And then Cape Town, it looks a little bit different with their clinicals. They jump a lot more between hospitals. They go to a physical and mental disability clinic. They also worked with some other governmental clinics too down there. And we all rotate between each clinic site. So we all get a little bit of a taste, and no one's like left out of one opportunity from the other. And then there's also 2 more chances to go somewhere else as a nursing student. There's China. It's kind of an exchange program, so they'll go to a university in, I forget the name of the city, but it's like an hour out of Shanghai. And they take a Mandarin class there. So they really only go to the university for that class, and then they get lectured, I think it's on Fridays, by some doctors or nurses. And their clinicals, they go to this amazing hospital where they provide even a beautiful gym that I had friends go and take advantage of. And they get to choose what unit of the hospital they want to work in. So it's very flexible, and you really kind of direct the, I guess, schedule of what you want to do and see in the hospital. And then they live in apartments nearby, and it's a smaller group, so it's about 5 to 7 students, whereas South Africa, both cohorts can hold up to 10. And then you're with the 20 to 30 other GE students. And then Norway, so this is also an exchange program, so we have Norwegian students from the university that we're partnered up with. They come here, so this semester I think we have like 6 students from Norway, which is really cool. And they focus a lot on home care health. They walk around with nurses and do home visits. If they get house calls, they'll just go to those houses and see what's wrong, what the problem is. And so, yeah, I have had friends that have done all of these programs, and myself with Peter Maritzburg. And with every program, you do a lot of excursions. So like how in Ecuador and all the South Africa abroad trips, you get to really see some really cool and significant things of each country. China, they go to the Great Wall. Some people got to do the Disneyland in Shanghai, which is really awesome. And Norway, they see, I mean, it's beautiful there. I know I want to go to Norway. I wish I could do all of the trips, but I can't. So it's a really great opportunity. It's amazing that with our nursing school, we really get that opportunity. And then if you don't choose to study abroad, you stay here on campus and you go into urban health. And so if your daughters and sons aren't interested in going far, you still get a really cool experience locally, and you go to Skid Row in LA and do clinics there. And the professor, Koi Parada, who stays here, she's really amazing. So it's a great experience no matter what. And next is High Sierra, which is also more local.
Hi. Oh, thanks. Yes, so my name is Katie Burns. I am the Director of Student Life up at the High Sierra campus, which is located just outside of Yosemite National Park, which means that like all of you, I spend, well, I get to spend 51 weeks a year in the mountains, and then I come down here for 1 week a year, and I wonder why Azusa is 100 degrees. And it always happens to line up with move-in weekend. I don't fully understand. Over here, this is my colleague, former student, and now good friend, Annie Ellis, and she participated in High Sierra in spring 2014. High Sierra is a really unique program. It's totally unique to anything in Christian higher education, and it's unique to APU. Mostly it's unique to APU because it's the flagship program for all of these other amazing off-campus programs that we offer. High Sierra was started this is our 17th year, 17 years ago by President John Wallace. And what we do is we take 35 to 45 college students each semester, and we set up shop just outside of Yosemite National Park. Students get to come have the option of coming as early as their freshman year, and they study their general studies requirements, so history, philosophy, church history, art history, literature, and their Bible classes. And then we go off into the outdoors together, and we go backpacking together, both in the winter and in the fall, and we get to go rock climbing, and we get to go wakeboarding, and we get to go skiing, and all sorts of other fun activities. But part of the goal of that is that we get to develop leadership skills within our students. All of our faculty go with us on those trips, so it's a pretty unique experience for students to get to learn how to interact with their faculty in a different way than they would maybe on main campus. And because we are such a small community, we do focus on community development, and so often our students come back with some of their closest friends. The friends that are going to carry them through the rest of their APU career. And we can also be really intentional and purposeful in their spiritual development. And so we still have chapel 3 times a week. It looks a little different, but we still have chapel 3 times a week. And sometimes that means that we're sitting in Yosemite Valley. And if you've ever been to Yosemite Valley, you know how inspiring that is. So when I think about this group of students that are coming up in 2 weeks to join us at High Sierra, I think about that first Friday, when we will drive through that long tunnel that takes you into Yosemite Valley, and it opens up to this view of El Capitan and Bridal Veil Falls and Half Dome. And I think this is a place that has impacted millions of people, and I get to share this place with my students. Here, we get to ask questions about who are we, and where have we come from, and where are we going. We get to ask questions of each other. We get to ask questions of Jesus Christ and our Lord, and we get to journey through those questions together. And then when those students come back to main campus, as we refer to it, when they come back to main campus, they have this incredible community of people to support them through the rest of their college experience. So I am very biased. I have been a part of High Sierra this is my 12th year now. And I'm going to let Annie just share a little bit of her experience as a student and why she's committed to coming back and working for us this year.
Yeah, so I came into college as a nursing major, and then I went to High Sierra for preview weekend, the fall semester of my freshman year, and I changed my major to English, and I went to High Sierra the next semester. So I did High Sierra the spring semester of my freshman year, which, like Katie said, is a bit unique to our program. I think maybe 1 or 2 of the others you can as well. But going to High Sierra so early in my college career shaped the way that I spent my next 4 years. Not only in my way of my community and my friends, but in the way that I approached academics. High Sierra is a really empowering semester for students who come in and maybe don't think that they are scholars or don't think that they can do the kind of rigorous work that some of their peers or students older than them can do. And they enter High Sierra and enter this community of people committed to supporting them and leave the semester feeling like they can approach faculty more comfortably, that they can ask questions in class, that they are more empowered to do the things that they want to do academically. And also, a perk of High Sierra is that it's not the only opportunity to study abroad. So I did High Sierra my freshman year, and then 2 years later went to Oxford in the UK. and spent a semester there as well. We've had students go to Ecuador after doing High Sierra. We've had them go to South Africa after doing High Sierra. So the options for doing High Sierra and then that setting you on a trajectory to study abroad again is also a really unique and cool opportunity. Yeah, so if you guys have questions, we'll be around after. But don't count out studying away in California just because it may not sound as crazy as going abroad. It really is a formative and incredible semester.
Thank you, guys. I'm going to grab the clicker really fast. Okay, so I'm going to bring up our next representative who's going to talk a little bit about our Group 2 programs, which, as you remember, is the federal aid ones where only FAFSA and state aid applies over.
I'm back again. Okay, so for our Group 2 programs, we pair mostly with these three programs that we are extremely connected with. The CCU Best Semester, LCC, Lithuania, and ASABLE for environmental science students. So CCU, you can go kind of all over the world. Some popular programs are the Oxford program, which Annie just talked about a little bit. Nashville for music is a great program for mixing music. Uganda, Australia, these wonderful programs that we like to partner with. We have 10 spots reserved for APU students every year. So we love to pair with them and get students to go, as well as finding other financial aid options for them so that even though their APU financial aid isn't transferring over, we can try and get them some from elsewhere. LCC is a popular program, more popular program on the rise in Lithuania, and it's essentially like transferring to university just outside of America. So it caters to most majors. You can get a lot of classes that you need done there. And then ASABLE is a newer program we started partnering with that focuses on environmental studies, so biology, and getting them field work done there. It's required of environmental students to get some field work done. So this is one program they can do that through. And they can go all over the world, within America, wherever they feel comfortable with, studying ecology in whichever way that they are focused. So marine biology, forest studies, things like that. I'm going to pass it on to short-term programs.
I'm going to stand over here because we're all about being inclusive at APU. And I love all your guys' I love APU shirts. My mom tries to wear them every time she FaceTimes me. It's really cute. Yeah. I mean, she stopped after the first year, but she tried. Anyways, yeah, so short-term programs are really cool because, for one, if your student, not you guys, if your student is like a music major or they are a BSA theater major and their semesters are just fully booked and they can't spend a semester away, short-term programs are offered in the summer and in the winter. So they can be anywhere from a few weeks to almost 2 months. And I went on one to Costa Rica. And another cool thing is that all these short-term programs are faculty-led. So the program is kind of based on what faculty is leading and what classes they're offering for the students to take. And in the past, we've had a trip to South Africa with the psychology classes involved. People have gone to China for nursing. Yeah. Aaron went to India for that was India for nursing. I also went to Costa Rica, like I said, to learn Spanish, and I got my 2 Spanish classes there in a span of 2 months. And yeah, so those are some examples of classes that we have there for us. Just again, for short term though, it's, there's no financial aid, institutional, federal, state, that we can put on that. But there are scholarships that are available for students to apply for if they are very interested in going and need a little extra money for that. And yeah, so that's short-term programs, and it kind of differs based off of what the year is and what the faculty can do and what they want to do. But yeah, another really great opportunity to study abroad. So from here, we're going to transition to Eduardo, who's going to be talking about our Cool Mexico outreach team here.
We need participation, so if you guys can repeat after me. Todo lo puedo en Cristo que me fortalece. Filipenses 4:13. I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength, Philippians 4:13. And in 1970, Carolyn Kuhn started a program called Mexico Outreach. And she started with college students, and then also invited high school students to come too. So with our college students, we have our Thanksgiving break, which is our first one, the big one. And this year it's different because their students have a whole week off. So instead of going from Wednesday to Sunday and missing Thanksgiving with you guys, this year we're doing it from Saturday to Wednesday, and they can go home and spend Thanksgiving with you guys and get their 30 service credits and be halfway done with their service credits for the first year. And in Mexico, the students get to do a lot of things. They get to choose from 30 different teams. If they're in the medical field, we have clinics for them. We have home and wellness, health and wellness that they can join. If they work for psychology, for social work, they can go to men's shelters and women's teams, which include women's shelter, men's prison, and women's prison teams. And if they don't like to do none of that stuff, but they like to cook, they can join me in the kitchen with Team Nehemiah, okay? And we also have a security team that stays 24 hours taking care of the camp. But just to let you know, we've been there this is our 48th year going, and we've never had any problems there. And so students can do a lot. And just to let you know, how many of your students are undeclared? Okay, if you send them one of these trips, God will use them in many ways, and they'll come back picking a major because they see the need that's in Mexico, right there in Mexicali, 30 minutes across the border by the Arizona border. So they'll see a need and say, that's what I think my major should be. And some of you, your students might think their major what it is, and go to Mexico and work in some kind of ministry and come back thinking, I think I want to do something else. So be ready for that. If your students go to Mexico, to one of the study away programs or any of our summer international programs, they might change their major because God is taking them to another position. Then, a card that's not up there is this card, because Mexico Outreach is special also not just to college students, but to high school students. Because Carolyn Coons used to teach youth ministry here when she taught, and she would take them to Mexico. And then her students would say, how do I take my high school students to Mexico? And she didn't want to for 6 years, but then she finally in 1970 decided, I will take high school students. So we have a unique program of taking high school students to Mexico. So if you're interested in your church to bring down a high school group or a family group, come to the table over there, and you can pick up one of our dates to let you know all the dates for our high school camps. And also, for parents that are saying Mexico is dangerous, we also have a little violent crime rate and murder rate with Mexicali, Ensenada, Tijuana, and the major cities of the United States, and you can compare where it is more dangerous. But what I always say is, wherever the Lord calls you is the safest place in the world. So when I was here at APU, I went to Mexico my freshman year and fell in love with it and became a school teacher, 22 years of teaching elementary. And back then, everyone had the equal Easter break, so I've been going since 1984 and haven't missed a trip now in spring break. And the Lord called me 6 years ago to come work full-time here in Mexico Outreach and leave my education of elementary. So you never know where the Lord leads you and what he's going to call you to do. But if you follow, it's amazing what he can do. And amazing what I can do now. My freshman year here at college, I will never come up on the stage and speak. But after my communications class, I've learned in public speaking, it's like, okay, if the Lord wants me to, I can get up there and speak. So if your child is afraid of speaking, send him to mission field, and he'll come back ready to speak about the Lord and do anything, okay? And make sure if your child is going to be going on one of these trips, we have brigades too, which is in September and October. They need their passports, so make sure they have their passports as soon as possible. And one more program that we have in our Center for Student Action is his years. After they graduate, for 2 years, if they commit, some donor pays their loans while they work in the 1040 window for 2 years. So if your child's interested in missions, they can even do it after they graduate from APU. So we have a lot of students now in the 1040 window, and every year we have about 9 to 12 students that go every year. So pray that if you want your child to do that, they can start by going to Mexico or High Sierra or any of these other programs that we have. And now, who's coming up next?
Awesome. Thank you, Eduardo. Okay, so now just really quickly, if you guys have any questions or things you guys want us to answer for you, now is the time. If you guys have anything you want to ask us, just raise your hand. We'll look for you. Yes. Oh, you have a mic. Look at that. You have a sound team.
Yeah, so with housing, so let's say you decide spring, you want to go in the fall. So the way that it works is that you can go with a group of roommates and you can decide, these are the roommates, if I study abroad in fall and I come back in spring, these are the roommates I'm going to want to come back to. And so you establish that with your roommates. So personally what I did was I studied abroad in spring, so in fall I told my roommates, these are the groups that I'm going to come back to you guys so that you can come back and have your roommates. Otherwise, you can also do it with randoms. So you can say, I'm going to be right back, tell housing, you're going to go study abroad and come back, and they'll set you up with randoms if that's what you want to do. Otherwise, you just let your roommates know that you're going to want to come back to them, and they just fill out in their form. When they go for housing the next time, they just fill out in their form, this is who I'm going to go, she's going to come back, or he's going to come back. And then they just put that in the list. Does that make? No, so you don't have to pay. I can hear you, you're good. Her question was, is there a charge while you're away for the room that you would be coming back to? And the answer is no. You don't have to pay for it unless you're there. No problem.
So,
yeah.
So my son's in honors college, and he's concerned about how that works since this is a lot about generals.
Right.
And that's all covered. So
Yes.
what would happen in that scenario?
Yeah, come to High Sierra. So our program actually works really well with the Honors College. We've worked closely with them to develop our curriculum alongside one another. So all of the classes that they take at High Sierra will fulfill some of their honors humanities credits because it is a humanities-based program. So that is a great place where you know that those credits will all work out.
And also Mexico, because we're going during spring break and during Thanksgiving break. And one of our SMCs, one of our leaders is an honor student, so.
Also, we have been working alongside the honors advisors and things like that to make sure that there are courses available that they can take, so they're not necessarily limited to just staying in the country, because those are great options too, but that they can also go abroad if they choose to. So we recommend talking to their advisor and really pairing up with them so that we can make sure that all their options are really shown to them. Anybody else have questions, comments, concerns? We like compliments. We'll take them all. Anybody? Okay. Okay. Oh, yeah, go for it.
I have a question. A future parent. Just kidding. One frequently asked question from parents is, how much does this all cost? Especially study away. What is maybe, are they going to pay tuition? Mm-hmm. What are they going to pay for? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so the best way to compare it for what you're going through right now and are about to go through is it's about the cost of living freshman year because we do charge about the same as the dining plan would be for a freshman, just because we are serving them meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner every single day, 24/7. So we do, basically the tuition you're looking at for their freshman year is about the same tuition as you would be to study abroad for a semester. And like I said, financial aid, everything applies, so it literally would be whatever you personally are getting financially, more or less. And then Eduardo had something to add too.
And I forgot to mention earlier, anyone wears a small t-shirt. If you do, come to the table. We have last year's theme that's called Brave, and the Brave shines at night, so you can come get one of those. And if you're from out of state, we have a prize for you too, if you're here.
Staters.
Any more questions? If you're raising your hand and we can't see you, just scream. Okay. Oh, yes. Okay, yeah, there's a great question. So he asked, how many courses can a student take? So for the Group 1 programs, correct me if I'm wrong, but for all of them, students can take their, well, first, students are required to have the 12 minimum units to be a full-time student for all the programs. And they're allowed to take up to 18 units, so just like if they were taking courses here. But for, say, like the short-term programs and other programs like that, we only took 8 units worth of courses because it was just for a Spanish class. So just for the Group 1s is where you'll need to take the minimum of 12 and the maximum of 18 units that a student can take between there. And then for the Group 2, I believe that's based off of just the program that they're associated with and what courses they're taking. Does that answer your question?
How many times can they study away? Yeah, how many programs can they?
Oh, okay. How many different programs can they go to? That is a great question. As many as they want. 2. That's awkward. That's embarrassing. They can go to 2. For the Group 1, depending on your major, but there are the short-term programs. Just waiting for it to pop out again. Short-term programs that you can go to add more classes. Yes. Any more questions? Awesome. Okay. Thank you guys again. Just really quick, we in the black shirts are GEMS and Global Engagement Mentors. So if any of you your students want to, they can email Study Away and set up a quick 30-minute appointment with us where we can talk with them one-on-one individually and work out with their major, the courses, and all that kind of stuff, and make sure we get them to go study away. And yeah, if you guys want more information or have any questions, Kate Kimanzi right there is passing out some black flyer thingies and ready to talk to you, as well as the table over there for Mexico Outreach with Eduardo, and he's giving out free small size t-shirts for anybody who wants them. Yes, they glow in the dark. Super fancy. Yeah, so that's it. Thank you guys again for coming here, and enjoy the rest of your hot day.
And guys, we'll also be up front. If you have any questions and they're more personalized and you want to just talk to us, we'll also be up front for you guys. Thank you.